Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, October 18, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:42 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:42 p.m. Jamaica time. We can see that code yellow that we had to the northeast of Bermuda has now dwindled down back to just an X, so it no longer has a chance of developing within the next 2 days or within the next 7 days, which means that the now code orange across the main development region that should push into the Caribbean will or could acquire the name Melissa over the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the infrared of the Atlantic, yes, we can still see the clouds swirling away right here just to the northeast of Bermuda, pushing off towards the northeast, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be, having any tropical characteristics that the hurricane center can give it a name. But what could get some tropical characteristics is this tropical wave. Look at the deep convection associated with it to the east of the Windward Islands, and they're already getting on some rainfall from another tropical wave to the west of that tropical wave. We're going to be looking at a close-up shortly, but we need to read the latest here from the Hurricane Center about this tropical wave. And there's a lot to read. They've stated here, east of the Windward Islands and the Caribbean Sea, AL98. So it is now an invest. So basically, it is now an area of investigation that the Hurricane Center is monitoring. And now they can run some special supercomputer models on it, the HWRF and some others. And sometimes they even send some of their planes into the system, to gather even more data to know exactly what's going to be taking place regarding its future. So we're going to be seeing over time how the models are coming into consensus, even although they're still all over the place. Some of the models taking it into Central America, some of them pushing northward into the Greater Antilles. We'll see it actually plays out over the next couple of days. We're going to be definitely narrowing down on the exact path that this system should take. So they've stated here that it is now Invest 98L. A tropical wave located several hundred miles east of the Windward Islands continues to produce a broad area of showers and thunderstorms. This system is expected to move quickly westward at 20 to 25 miles per hour, crossing the Windward Islands during the next day or so. By the middle to latter part of next week, environmental conditions could become favorable for development, and a tropical depression could form while the system slows down over the central Caribbean Sea. Regardless of development, this system is expected to bring heavy rainfall and gusty winds to the Windward Islands Sunday into Monday morning. And with that, they've now given the area a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the close-up, we can definitely see the deep convection associated with this tropical wave. Look at the reds, look at the blacks, the grays into the purples. That's some deep convection trying to get its act together even before it reaches Barbados right here. Very interesting. And if we take a look at what the spaghetti model plots are showing, so we didn't have these maps before it became an invest. Now it is an invest. We can see the spaghetti model plots. The Euro EPS shows the system making it into the Caribbean by way of the Windward Islands, pushing south of Hispaniola, pushing north of the ABC Islands and Venezuela. And look at this, by the time it gets over here in Haiti's latitude or longitude, whichever one, we see that some greens into some yellows are popping up, so maybe that's tropical storm if not hurricane status. Very interesting. And we see that the models aren't really sure exactly what's going to be taking place. Some of them take it into Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize. Some of them take it right here over to the Yucatan. Some of them pass the Cayman Islands and push it to the north into Cuba. Some of them take it over Jamaica. Some of them still take it over Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Very interesting. What does the GFS spaghetti model plus show? GFS is still in agreement that majority of the models should take it over Hispaniola. Look at that. Only a few of the models from the GFS are showing a trek to the south of Jamaica. But, you know, when it comes to these systems, the Euro model is most accurate when it comes to these tropical systems for sure. When it comes to the GFS, you know, we're talking about the accuracy in terms of the afternoon rainfall. So I wouldn't be surprised if the GFS starts to cave to more of what the Euro has been showing for the past couple of days, more than likely a western kind of track, because it's very difficult to get a track like this. I remember we got a track like this when we had Hurricane Matthew in 2016. Do you remember Hurricane Matthew? In 2016, look at the path that Hurricane Matthew took, if you remember the system, into the Caribbean. Then it pushed to the north across Haiti. Remember, it was a category 4 at that time. Everybody remembers the skull face that Hurricane Matthew had. That was crazy. Everybody was talking about how it looked like it was a photoshopped image, and it was not a photoshopped image with the skull face at all. It was crazy. And remember how many people died because of the system, the amount of rainfall that took place as the system came into western Haiti. Very bad situation. If we take a look at what the model intensity guidance is showing, we're seeing that the system should definitely make it up to tropical storm status. We see the greens here that represent tropical storm status and the spaghetti model plus. Well, some of these models, different models. We have DSH, IVC, and many different models, and you see that no, it won't become a tropical storm within the next 24 hours. So not on Sunday, but about Monday at least. 3 of the models make it up into tropical storm status by Monday, but we see that the other models are still remaining out of the tropical storm status up until, let's say, about Thursday, the 108-hour mark. So let's work with what most of the models are showing. So by the end of Monday into Tuesday, it could become a tropical storm. We'll say it actually plays out. Wouldn't be surprised if we get a different intensity model guidance tomorrow showing something completely different. So we have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds. But regarding the latest here from the Euro and the GFS models, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 6Z on Saturday, October 25, which is actually 1 a.m. on Saturday. And we can see the moisture associated with that tropical wave just to the south of Jamaica. We see the greens into the yellows, and we see the red L that represents an area of low pressure to the south of us. Now, where does the GFS have the system? Look at that. Still some disagreement with the models, and you know, when we have disagreement like this, the chances are very slim in terms of exactly what's going to be taking place. So this is where the GFS has it, this is where the Euro has it. Very interesting. But the consensus is that yes, there's gonna be a broad area of low pressure. The consensus is that yes, there's definitely gonna be an increase in rainfall. We see the moisture for sure on both maps, so that's definitely what we want. We don't want any tropical systems to form. We want the rainfall because we know how hot and dry it has been all year, especially across Jamaica, especially with all of these water restrictions from the National Water Commission still in some Kingston and St. Andrew communities as we speak, even although especially Western Jamaica has been getting a lot of rainfall. The East not so much this year. So is this going to be our break? Is this going to be our chance to get some rainfall? And the thing about what the Euro model is showing is that this is just the 168-hour time stamp. So we're in the 168-hour mark. But the thing is, this system on the Euro is not even going to be leaving the Caribbean until like the first week of November. And if it actually sits down here and fester and spin over all of that very warm sea surface temperature and ocean heat content, it's just going to be churning up even more moisture, more rainfall. There is definitely going to be a lot of flooding taking place. We're going to be looking at the 7-day precipitation totals later on in this video, so stay tuned. This is going to be a very bad situation. A lot of places here are going to be flooding out in the Greater Antilles. And we know that if something should form of this system, the next name on the list is Melissa. Doesn't look like we're going to be getting Nestor from that system to the northeast of Bermuda at all. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, this blue spike line right here extending from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to the southeastern Bahamas is a cold front. And we can see the tropical wave that's now affecting portion of the Windward Island, the other tropical wave that has a medium chance of development to the east of that one. There's actually another tropical wave to the southeast of that tropical wave, and a tropical wave right here to the south of the Cabo Verde Islands. All of these being steered by that ridge of high pressure from east to west. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out all of these entities. The clouds associated with that frontal system extending down into portion of the Bahamas. The clouds associated with that tropical wave now lashing portions of the Windward Islands, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. The clouds associated with that tropical wave just to the east of that has a medium chance of development. The clouds associated with that other tropical wave to the southeast of that one. And the clouds associated with the tropical wave to the south of the Cabo Verde Islands. And they're definitely being steered from east to west, all courtesy of that ridge of high pressure to the north. We will be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, October 18, 2025. It was stated that some rainfall could have been in the forecast for parts of some southern and eastern parishes on Saturday morning, also affecting a section of some eastern, central, and western parishes during Saturday afternoon. And you know, like I can't pause it. Alright, so and you know that when we're talking about southern parishes, we're referring to those parishes on the bottom side of the island like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew and St. Thomas. You know, when we're talking about eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston and St. Andrew. Central parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon and St. Catherine. Our western parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. And we know that we refer to northern parishes getting on some of the action as well during the afternoon, especially northern parishes. You know, northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. And what ended up happening at around 2:05 p.m, the infrared and the visible satellite imagery were posted not only here on our X page at Weather Jamaica, but they were also posted on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have enough of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the clouds bring some overcast skies, if not some thunder showers, to section of some eastern, central, and western parishes, just as predicted. So we definitely had that thunderstorm activity, especially across section of Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne. That was where the brunt of the thunderstorms were today. Even though we got some isolated thundershower activity across section of the south, so Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, section of St. Andrew into Portland definitely got some of the action too. And we can see the blanket of clouds sitting across the island right here, pushing from southeast to northwest, and we even saw some thunderstorms right here to the southeast of us pushing towards the island by the time we were beginning to lose the sunlight. So it could mean that some rainfall could be coming for a portion of St. Thomas later on tonight if that doesn't dissipate. As you can see here, for the most part, most of the thunderstorms have been dying down as we head into the evening hours. All of these blues, greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, they represent cumulonimbus cloud cover, not to mention the sparkling white dust. They represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, that definitely lashed areas such as St. Anne into Trelawney, St. James, Hanover into Westmoreland. That was where the brunt of today's thunderstorm were. And we definitely have confirmation from the Jamaican Doppler radar. All of the greens into the yellows into the oranges, that represents the Light to moderate to even heavy rainfall from the eastern end to the western end, especially across the north coast. Look at St. Anne into Trelawney, St. James into Hanover, Westmoreland into St. Elizabeth. That was where the brunt of today's moderate to heavy rain bands were. And we even see the rain bands right here to the southeast of us, pushing to the northwest like what we saw on the visible earlier. And we definitely have confirmation right here. The live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel at around 4:41 p.m. showing Little London in Westmoreland. They were definitely getting on some rainfall. We see the vehicles with their windshield wipers on at that time. There's some light to moderate rainfall at that time to confirm that they definitely got on some rainfall in western parishes today. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite the picture of where we had that rainfall today across sections of some eastern, central, western, especially northern parishes for sure. And we definitely have some comments that came in from some of our followers today confirming what the weather is like in their area. We have Fest Genius stating, boy, rain like hail, Spanish Town side. We also have Active 4081 stating, this lightning is crazy. Even on our Facebook page, we had the comments coming in. Ivor Lee Reid stating, overcast a bit in Portmore. Sylvia stating, rain, lightning and thunder in Brownstown, St. Anne area. Street lights came on from before 2 p.m. That's crazy. We have Naiki Ben stating, heavy thunderstorm in Maypen, Clarendon right now. We even got a video from Tracy Woods. Let me see if I can load it up. And there we go. Some decent rainfall right here. Wonder what parish this is. Listen to all of that. That's some heavy rainfall taking place. Really curious. More than likely it's on the north coast, given the white sandy beaches and all of these palm trees. Thanks for the video, Tracy. Let's see. We even have some more comments here. We have Latoya stating rain is due. And we have Father Samaj stating lightning storm wreaked havoc on power system, knocking out electricity for a quarter of the afternoon today. That's crazy. What parish? We even had some comments coming in here on our Instagram page. Georgia Williamson 54 stating no rain in Portmore. Lil _ Miss _ introvert _ 03 stating no rain today my side, thank God. We even had some comments coming in here. Well, a comment coming in here from Edward Stanisha stating, hey, we get some lightning and thunder in South Manchester, rain ton right over how it heavy. We have Super Duper Kimmy stating no rain as yet in Old Harbor, but thunder and lightning for days. We have a gorgeous _ Martina stating, anyone know if the Bagua Gorge is open? As a matter of fact, given your comment, I quickly checked the National Works Agency and they gave an update this morning at 9:42 a.m. stating the road to the Bagua Gorge, St. Catherine, is open to vehicular traffic. Please proceed with caution. And we have a comment right here from William Macias stating overcast and raining in Spanish Town. We also had a comment right here from a lady who speaks her mind. Everyday lightning and thunder and St. Mary and no rain. We have Capricorn _ girl _ Jan 18 stating raining in Trelawney. And Chode _ boy 470 stating been raining in Hanover for about 3 hours now. That's crazy. And we even had a few comments that came in on our TikTok page. We had Jillian Harrison stating we're having heavy rain with thunder right now in my part of St. Anne. And we have Trifine stating 2:30 p.m. Westmoreland with Horn area, heavy rain, thunder and lightning. Thank you all for confirming what the weather is like in your area for today. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, the latest Jamaican Doppler radar imagery, the latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar imagery, and the latest Cayman radar. We want to see exactly what's taking place across the island right now. Alright, so the latest still image from the Weather Nerds website is showing 0125 UTC, which is actually 8:25 p.m. So this just came out 12 minutes ago, considering that it is 8:37 p.m. right now. And as you can see, the clouds that affected central western Jamaica have dissipated for the most part, just leaving some whitish shades that represent some high cirrus clouds. But look at that, the far eastern end of the island is actually getting on some isolated thundershower activity. Maybe across section of Moran Point, maybe Golden Grove, getting on some of the rainfall in eastern St. Thomas. And let us see if the latest Jamaican Doppler radar image confirms this. There we go. The latest Jamaican Doppler radar image is showing 011 6. So that's what, 8:16. And as you can see, we have some rain bands coming into eastern St. Thomas right here. We see the greens into the yellows. They represent some moderate to slightly heavy rainfall. The Cuban Doppler radar looks like it glitched out today at around, did it? Let's see. What is it doing? I think it's trying to get its act together. It was showing 1:40, then 1:50, then 2 p.m., then 9:13 p.m., then 9:20 p.m. And 9:20 p.m. represents 8:20 p.m. Jamaica time. And if we actually look, the 9:20 p.m. is actually showing that rainfall across the southeast, just like what we saw on the satellite image as well as on the Jamaican Doppler radar. So there's definitely some rain bands to the east of us or across southeastern Jamaica as we speak. Some greens into the yellows that represents moderate, that's moderate rainfall into Fuerte, that's slightly heavy rainfall out east as we speak. Could I get in on some of that later on? Only time will tell. Regarding the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar imagery, we can actually make out that rainfall that's pushing into eastern Jamaica as we speak over here. Definitely confirming what we're seeing on the Jamaican Doppler radar and the Cuban Doppler radar. Some decent rainfall out to sea. The Cayman radar definitely confirming that not much of anything is taking place across western parishes. But we do see some rain bands to the west of us, to the north of us. And we also see some rain bands right here to the west and to the south of the Cayman Islands. Interesting. Regarding what's taking place right now, the live camera from Sea Jamaica's YouTube channel showing Maypen, Clarendon, and not much of anything is taking place. A lot of people walking about, going about their business. Very busy Maypen at this time. That's crazy. And we see that it is definitely dry. People in their vehicles as well going about their business. Nothing to do with bad weather taking place at all. And backtracking, we're actually seeing where they had that rainfall earlier today. Just like that comment said, somebody stating that it rained in their part of Clarendon today. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're 26 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18th on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in the yellows that represents up to at least 1 degree Celsius above average temperatures. I know the average temperature for the month of October across Jamaica is around 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 31.6 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31.6 to 32.6 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday. And we're grateful that we don't see any maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS online Twitter page. I have to highlight, that we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So we're grateful that we don't have any outages to expect on Sunday. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. So if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you, it states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others including children, elderly people with medical conditions and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest part of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. The yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. We see a lot of dry air off the east coast of the US into the Gulf, the southwestern Atlantic into the Bahamas. A lot of dry air as well across the northern portions of the main development region extending all the way into northwestern Africa. We know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain. But what we like is the moist air. Wherever we have the moist air, that's where we have the unstable weather. We have a lot of moist air right here in the Caribbean. We have a lot of moist air across the southern main development region right in here, and we also have a lot of moist air in and around Central America for sure. I know that the moist air is where it's at. That's where we have a lot of clouds, and wherever we have the clouds, that is where we have the rainfall that cools down the temperatures and keeps water in our pipes. Alright, so if we actually take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days, we're heading into October 18, October 19, October 20, and October 21. And as you can see here, Jamaica should be in the clear right here. Just some slight Saharan dust pushing through from the main development region into the eastern Caribbean, but nothing to worry about at all. The Saharan dust is on the low end of the scale. Know that the Saharan dust is usually represented by the greens, yellows, oranges, pinks. I don't see any oranges or pinks that represents that the vigorous plume. So we are definitely grateful for that. No Saharan dust to worry about. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, look at this. The highest wave seems to be right here to the north of the Lesser Antilles, to the north of Hispaniola. That's where we have the dark blues into purples into pinks. They represent anywhere from 2 all the way to maybe 3 meter wave heights. While the Caribbean, the waves are starting to ramp up. The Western Caribbean, the light shades of blues to blues. The Central to the Eastern Caribbean, we're seeing blues to dark blues. So we're talking about anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way to maybe 1.5 meter wave height. And that's because of the easterly winds. We're getting in on an easterly flow pushing through the Caribbean. We see the strong winds in the greens into the slight yellows that represents anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20, maybe even up to 25 knots where we have these yellows. Very interesting. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, for the fisher folk tomorrow, we have 0.6 of a meter wave height to the north of Portland, 0.6 of a meter wave height to the north of St. Anne, 0.4 of a meter wave height to the north of Hanover. To the south of Westmoreland tomorrow, that's 0.4 of a meter wave height to the south of Clarendon, 0.7 of a meter wave height to the south of St. Thomas. We have 0.8 of a meter wave height, and that is because of the winds that are expected. We see what looks like more of an east-southeasterly flow of the winds tomorrow. And what are these winds averaging? To the south of Kingston, 14 knots. It looks like 14 knots as well to the south of St. Elizabeth, 12 knots to the south of, well, to the north of Portland, 11 knots to the north of St. Anne. And we see where the air is expected to pile up. Wherever we have the least amount of wind, that is where we have the low level clouds becoming mid level rain clouds, if not upper level cumulonimbus clouds. So that is where we could have some daytime heating, afternoon of rainfall, and the upper level winds seem to be coming in from the south tomorrow. So if we actually get some thunderstorms to formulate across the island tomorrow because of daytime heating, those cloud tops would be sheared off towards the north, definitely bring most of the activity to some northern parishes. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7 a.m. Jamaica time. And what do both maps show? We're definitely in consensus with the rainfall for the far eastern end of the island for 7 a.m. And the thing is, the rainfall has already started across the far eastern end. So eastern Portland, eastern St. Thomas, some more rainfall similar to what you're getting in on right now. Then by around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time, what do we see? Both the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that there should be some amount of rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. And if you look closely, the Euro showing the brunt of it on the south and the western side. The GFS making more sense, showing the brunt of it on the eastern to the northern and western sides. That sounds more like it. So look out for afternoon rainfall if you are in Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, maybe sections of St. Thomas, maybe sections of Kingston, St. Andrews, St. Catherine. Not seeing much for Clarendon, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen. We see northern and southern Clarendon shaded in blues. We see northern Manchester shaded in the blues, not really central to southern Manchester. We also see northern to western St. Elizabeth shaded in the blue, southeastern St. Elizabeth not so much. Doesn't mean that we can't get rainfall for our folks in southeastern St. Elizabeth. And we also see Westmoreland shaded in the blue. So there could definitely be some afternoon rainfall on Sunday. So we'll see it actually plays out. And regarding the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that there should be some amount of rain, not the next 7 days, within the next 24 hours. So this map right here from the GFS and this map from the Euro is showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. Not saying that there's going to be rainfall from now up until then, but these are the spots that could be getting on that rainfall. We see the Euro going up to at least 0.58, maybe 0.59 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS going up to at least 0.66 of an inch of rainfall at most. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs on our other social media platforms. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it, because we're in the month of October. And in Trelawney, whose bar graph is being shown right here, we usually receive 182 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 7.2 inches of rainfall. In Manchester, we usually receive 139 millimeters of rainfall this month. That's about the same as 5.5 inches of rainfall. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of October or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com and that website to show you that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here as we go out to the next one, just 68 hours. So we're not going to be going past the next 7 days. That would be very unethical. And keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here. You can also keep your eyes focused on the tropical wave. This is where it should be by 12:00 on Monday, which is actually 7 a.m. So you can watch exactly what's going to be taking place as it relates to the moisture that we know is represented by the reds into the oranges, into the yellows, into the greens, that we know means inches of rainfall. Alright, so let's see what's going to be taking place. So from the Euro, 12:00 on Monday, we see some moisture to the south and the east of us. Then on Monday afternoon, we're seeing moisture across mainly central and western parishes. What does the GFS show? Do we have agreement? Monday morning, rainfall across the eastern end. Monday afternoon, rainfall across some central and western parishes. What do we see on Tuesday morning? On Tuesday morning, we're seeing some rainfall to the west of us. We're seeing a lot of moisture right here in and around Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, especially to the south of there. Then on Tuesday afternoon, not really much of anything. Maybe some isolated showers across some central parishes. What does the GFS show? On Tuesday morning, rainfall across some northern parishes. On Tuesday morning, we're also seeing the huge batch of moisture to the south of Puerto Rico associated with that tropical wave. Tuesday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. What do we see on Wednesday morning? On Wednesday morning, we're seeing some rainfall across some northern and eastern parishes in Jamaica. We're seeing a lot of moisture to the south of Hispaniola affecting Puerto Rico as well. Wednesday afternoon, we're seeing moisture across eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, rainfall encompassing the entire island. Look at the huge batch of moisture and the red L to the south of the Dominican Republic by that time. Wednesday afternoon, what do we see? Rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Very interesting. Next, Thursday morning. Thursday morning, we're seeing that broad air flow pressure to the south of Jamaica. We're also seeing the moisture on the south and the east side wrapping around the center of circulation. So eastern Jamaica with some morning rainfall. Then on Thursday afternoon, we're still getting some moisture across eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on the GFS? Thursday morning, maybe some isolated showers out east. We're seeing a strengthening future Melissa to the south of the Dominican Republic. Not what we were seeing on the Euro at all. What do we see on Thursday afternoon? We're seeing that moisture across eastern, central, and western parishes. What do we see on Friday morning? On Friday morning, we're seeing some moisture across eastern Jamaica still. On Friday afternoon, we're seeing rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Saturday, October 25. We're seeing the broad air flow pressure to the south of us. We're seeing the bout of moisture still affecting the waters to the south of Hispaniola to the southeast of Jamaica. A lot of greens into the yellows, representing anywhere from 2, maybe up to 6 inches of rainfall. What does the GFS show? Friday morning, rainfall across some northern and eastern parishes. We're seeing something very strong pushing towards the gap between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. What does the GFS show for Friday afternoon? Rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes, just like the GFS. Then we're stopping it at the end of the 168 hours as well. So this is valid for Saturday, October 25. Seeing rainfall across northern Jamaica. We're seeing a very formidable system affecting Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic's eastern end. The GFS, a lot of moisture, different from what the Euro is showing across those spots. We'll see it actually plays out. And in terms of the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here, both of them should be showing all the rainfall. Hold on. Here we go. This is it. Nope. Where is it? I want to see the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days. So this from the Euro and this from the GFS that are both showing the end of the next 7 days. So up to at least Saturday, October 25. and we're seeing that the exact spot that the euro has the system sitting over, that is where the brunt of the rainfall should be. We're talking about the dark reds into the purples, into the pinks, into the peaches that represents anywhere from 2 all the way to maybe 7 inches of rainfall for portions of the southeastern Bahamas, southeastern Cuba, eastern Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, all the way down to the ABC Island, and the usual amount of moisture for portions of Venezuela, into sections of Central America, Belize, the Guatemala area, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia. You even see portions of Trinidad and Tobago getting in on the mix. And the GFS, definitely different, because if we remember, the GFS has the system pushing more so towards the gap between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. So look at this. Not only are we getting up into the peaches, but we're getting up into the blues, even some dark blues that represent anywhere from 12 to 25 inches of rainfall if this actually plays out, especially given how slow the system is moving. This is why I don't believe what the GFS is showing. I'm more inclined to believe what the euro is showing, and we know how the GFS is. The GFS can show a lot of things and say it's gonna happen this way, and then later on down the line, the GFS starts to go more in line with what the euro has been showing. So we have to take these forecasts from the GFS with a grain of salt. I've been watching the GFS for years. I've seen it totally drop all of what it has been showing for days just to follow what the euro has been showing. But there are times when the euro is wrong and the GFS is right. So we just have to stay updated to see exactly how it actually plays out. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days across Jamaica, both maps right here from the euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Saturday, October 25. And we still see on the euro, Jamaica shaded in the greens, yellows, and oranges. That represents up to at least anywhere from 15 to maybe 60 millimeters of rainfall, especially across the far eastern end. GFS showing the yellows into the oranges, even into the pinks and the reds. That represents anywhere from 30 all the way up to maybe 100 millimeters of rainfall. Look at this, 156 right here millimeters in north of Portland. Very interesting. And if you notice, this is different from what the GFS showed yesterday. So it's going to be all over the place until it finally, narrows down on exactly what's going to be taking place. But the main takeaway is that there's going to be an increase in rainfall over the next 7 days for sure. So we have to stay updated to see how it plays out. And I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs if God spares life. Regarding what's taking place across the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we still have the leftovers of that frontal system, still bringing some rainfall to portion of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, the southeastern Bahamas, section of Cuba into Jamaica. We also see that we have that tropical wave, that first one, that's now affecting portions of Barbados, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago as we speak, with that stronger tropical wave that has a medium chance of development to the east of that. So they're going to be getting a 1-2 punch with these tropical waves. I'm sure that the rain lovers are going to be loving that. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery near Puerto Rico first, we're seeing that not really much is taking place across Puerto Rico or the Leeward Islands right now. But if we load these images from earlier today, we saw where portion of northwestern Puerto Rico got some rainfall. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, not seeing much of anything across Guadeloupe, Dominica, or Martinique right now. But look at the moisture from that first tropical wave pushing in, and we see more of an northeasterly flow of the rainfall. Some light to moderate to heavy rainfall in the blues, greens, and yellows, pushing through into portions of St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados getting in on some of the rainfall, Trinidad and Tobago definitely getting in on some rainfall as we speak, especially across the eastern and the southern sides. And the weather wave Doppler radar images also confirming that rainfall over here across the Windward Islands. We also see some rainfall across section of the Yucatan, some rainfall across section of Colombia as well. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that within the next 24 hours, there should definitely be rainfall in those very areas that we mentioned. So Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, section of Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan, section of southern Florida into the Bahamas, Cuba into the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic. So too, the Turks and Caicos, section of Puerto Rico into the US and British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, maybe St. Bart's getting in on some of that, so too St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Martin. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. Alright, so let us see what's taking place across the Eastern Pacific. That code orange that we've been watching still downgraded back to a code yellow. Well, it's a brand new cold yellow because the other one that we've been watching to the south of Mexico has dissipated. So it's a brand new one that's just to the west of Nicaragua that has a chance of development when it gets into the hatched era. So it has a 20% chance. If we take a look at the satellite imagery, more than likely this is the cloud that's associated with it. So it should push westward and possibly develop. I know the next name on the list over this side of the world is Sonia. Regarding what's taking place on the Western Pacific, if not the Indian Ocean side of things. So we have a suspect era in the Indian Ocean, Tropical Cyclone 04S. And we have a tropical storm here in the Western Pacific. Tropical Storm Feng Sheng. I'll let them name there. So looking at Tropical Storm Feng Shen, we see that it is now lashing portions of the Philippines. A lot of thunder shower taking place, heavy rainfall. And I'm sure if we check out Weather Monitor on Twitter, we're going to be seeing some footage coming out of the flooding. This side of the world always gets in on the flooding for sure. As of right now, it is packing 35 knot winds. One of the systems that pack 35 knot winds, so anywhere from 34 to 64 knot winds are classified as tropical storms. So it's packing 35 knot winds, so it's a low-end tropical storm right now. It is moving towards the northwest. Look at that. And then it's going to be curving to the west, then start to make a southwesterly dive all the way down into Vietnam right here. Interesting. This part of the world has been getting a lot of the system, especially southern China into Vietnam. Looks like it's going to be another one for them. And look at the intensity going up 40, 50, 60, 65 knots. And if you remember, 65 knot winds are the threshold for category 1. So it's going to become a typhoon. Typhoon is what they call them on this side of the world. Regarding the Indian Ocean, Tropical Cyclone 04S. So it's not a hurricane. It is not a typhoon. It is a tropical cyclone on the Indian Ocean. And it is also on the southern Indian Ocean side of things. So it is below the equator. This is the equator line in the blue. So more than likely it's going to be spinning clockwise instead of anti-clockwise that we're used to on the northern hemisphere. And let us see the track that it is going to take. So it's going to be pushing towards the west-southwest, definitely coming a bit too close towards Madagascar. Yes, Madagascar is right here near southeastern Africa, for those of you who don't know. As of right now, it is packing 35 knot winds, so it's a low-end tropical storm similar to the other system that's affecting the Philippines right now. Should maintain that tropical storm status. Look at the winds, 35, 40, 45. Definitely fluctuating in some spots. It doesn't seem like it's going to be making it up to hurricane status at all. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.